we look at this draft. Showed party on Rise for scaling, plus he is good at dealing with Kale since her range is Rise's range. Lead takeaway from Karsa. Grab the free Kaisa pick that RNG donated. Get rid of picks that enable Uzi to... Or get rid of picks that enable Uzi and let RNG play a full support Uzi comp. Save top counter to get best matchup for Khan, so they can have better split capabilities, especially with RNG banning TF, so they are quite clearly afraid of split pushers. GP naturally counter. GP easy counters more. Game. What the fuck did I call it? I'm already forgetting. Game plan. Yeah, right. Game plan. So Jarman can move early and like do some like weird shit in mid if he wants to, but he has a Kale who doesn't necessarily really support him that much. SKT is just gonna do a 5 spread again. They're not gonna do anything crazy, especially because you don't want to give Ezreal early klepto stacks. I mean, you technically an early top gank because Mort is not that big of an issue. Mid gank would get answered by Jarvan most likely. Bot lane is doable, but not exactly that great either. And it's not like any of these lanes necessarily need the assistance to propel themselves, so you just pretty much want to try to find where Jarvan is going, match him. If possible, he most likely wants to mess with top lane. In mid lane, if it means shipping out Rise to make Kale's lane easier. Ezreal Galio should get pushed if they wanted. They should get pushed. Jarvan can definitely do full blue into red. If he wants to protect them from lead gank. If Ezreal Galio push, they definitely expose themselves. I don't know. I think really just keeping even state map is fine. Just taking opportunities as they show themselves will heavily depend on laner wave management. Let's see. Yeah, so they're not doing a 5 spread, they're doing a 2-3. Just because they don't have any care about Kale doing anything. They're just looking out for Klepto. That's interesting that Leo is going sweeper, which means that she wants to deny side brush wards. I guess it makes sense when you're playing against Israel and you don't want him to be able to free poke your support who's trying to control brush. Listen, both are doing red starts. He is doing an early look bot, which is not really unsurprising, I guess. The fact that he would do something like that, especially because he wants, like their whole, like a lot of their comp is dependent on Ezreal being able to do shit. But Clid knowing that means that he has a lot of free access on making his own bot play, and now you notice, you notice Effort actually walked into Brush and really Effort walked into RNG's side brush and pressured really hard a possible level 2 with possible Clid coming from around, and that makes RNG instantly want to back off a little bit. So clearly they're already reaping the rewards of Karsa's bot game or bot attempt. He just swept bot try, so now they just prepped. They just prepped the possible reach around by Clid, and then now they just pressured Xiaohu a little bit. He wards the Krungs, and now he's just gonna go clear the rest of his camps. It seems like they're accepting that they don't want to commit to this bot play because Ezreal has phase shift, and he could probably most likely get out of any gank that happens. And Galio is pretty tanky too, so you'd basically be wasting your time if you're RNG or if you're SKT towards a play like that. And then GP, he gets his wave bounce top, and now it's returning back to him, and he's accepting the bounce wave. He's not trying to continue the pushing it because Clid is on the bot side. Okay, so now they know for sure that Karsa's on the bot side because the wards is spotted by the minions. They also know that most likely there's a bunch of wards placed in their bot jungle. Clid responds by quickly going mid and burning Xiaohu's flash. The second he sees this ward, he starts moving, right? He actually starts moving ahead of that even. And Xiaohu should know this. Yeah, like they see the ping, so Xiaohu knows this is happening. So Xiaohu's trying to bait this, and he ends up just getting hard punished. Oh, Xiaohu gets punished, but he was baiting it, and he did it well enough that it actually causes Faker to die. So SKT gets screwed because, well, a couple of reasons. One, Khan could not keep pushing his wave, which means that Yang, I think that's, I know it's not Lang. I know you don't say it Lang. I'm just gonna say Yang. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Yang. I have no idea. Yang places a ward in top red banana because he had priority from the bounce wave, and Khan didn't want to contest it because Clid is on the bottom side of the map. That ward spots Clid, and that causes the bait, and that causes the kill. So this is not something SKT could necessarily scout out, unless Khan had the foresight to say that, oh, perhaps ward actually warded, and you got spotted. Not really sure. Also, it's worth noting that if Kale's walking up like this, she's most likely baiting. It's a level 5 Kale with no range. There's absolutely nothing that he can do in this situation. And if you're Clid and you do not see Jarvan on your left by now, then he's probably on your right. He's probably on your right. Especially if your Raptors are not gone too. So that means he didn't even take your Raptors. So they didn't. There's some information out there that would cause, like, they would have to really think about. They just didn't think about it, and they just got punished. That's it. So Faker dies. The wave is shit, but he has TP. RNG actually just finishes the wave out instead of. They could have let this wave still collapse further into Xiaohu, and Xiaohu would have actually been able to gone this, like, Xiaohu would have been able to take the CS, so you could benefit from the play as a whole. But instead, Karsa eats it, and then the wave gets frozen in front of SKT's tower. Now Faker can keep it here, and now SKT has a play that they can look towards, possibly. That's super worth it. So he actually lands on Uzi because Uzi says fishing for klepto stacks, and he ends up getting the kill, and that is, yeah, like I said, that's fucking huge. So let's see what Faker's doing. So Faker insta pushes the wave. So Faker's not even trying to freeze the wave. Faker just pushes the wave. And of course, top bounces back out, and now GP gets first space because it was push, bounce, pull, bounce. So they do this for Scuttle. Glade goes back on top side versus his bot camps that respawn. Oh right. Sorry, I was trying to think. I was trying to remember what exactly was Clid's pathing initially. He did buff. So RNG ends up sneaking the dragon. It's a cloud dragon. It's good, but it seems like SKT doesn't mind losing it out. And that's been shown before, where SKT have not shown care for losing a dragon. Uzi's really ahead. Even though they killed him, he still was able to crash the wave, and Teddy lost some of the CS while trying to do the battle. So I guess in the end it was a net loss for SKT. I thought it was good at first because it's like, oh yeah, he got Uzi, but you know, Kaisa didn't get the kill, Ezreal got the kill, and Kaisa missed CS while doing the fight. So Clid is fishing mid. Top's been left on its own mostly. Now he's starting to do his blue. So, if we were to look at this, Clid does fast path towards bot. Karsa early looked. Karsa did red look bot for gank. Failed due to SKT Sports spotting him out. Clid takes away one camp and does everything else but Krugs. It seems like too much information. I guess it's not that bad. Gank look mid. Gank mid was based on look free to SKT, but Khan didn't communicate. I guess moving with priority and could have warded. Xiaohu was baiting. Faker dies. And also playing more aggressive in trades to prevent Uzi from klepto stacking doesn't really pan out when Uzi still gets the wave. And plus a kill in the 1v1. Then we have Clid return back towards top side. And if we look, I mean, it was what? Bases, does his Krugs, wards the pink, or deep pinks, Raptors, Wolves, gives up one dragon because they sneaked it, looks mid briefly, cans off blue. I should also say top is just trading waves less bounces. Different from the Spice series. Okay, so he's basing after he cleared his third Krugs, level 7. He has Warrior. He's good to go. They haven't made a single play on mid since the mishap and getting baited. But because of the wave state, and because Karsa opted to push the wave the way he did versus just letting it come into Xiaohu, Xiaohu lost like 8 to 9 extra CS on top of what he was already down. So Xiaohu is just permanently like he's pretty much behind because of Karsa in a way. I mean, bot and mid are their best chances for making ganks, right? Because Ward would most likely just ulti Lee Sin if they make a play on Ward. Mid works, bot works. Bot is level 6. They most likely would have to go on to. I mean, the chances of them catching Ezreal probably isn't that high. It would have to be most likely on Galio. Dragon's out for 2 minutes. Herald is up, and Yang has priority for most of the time. Technically, RNG could they pressure top for Herald? I guess it would be a little problematic the fact that Rise would destroy Mord. Mord would only be able to ulti Lee Sin. Even in that case, Lee Sin's gonna kick him away. Yeah, no. So I don't think SKT thinks RNG can deal Herald, so they just have to focus on bot river. And they know Ezreal's a huge big condition for RNG, so limiting his actions is important to them. They're starting it, but they're starting it in a different case, right? So in their case, they're doing it off of dual lane swap. And what this does is, one, it avoids them having to deal with Ezreal Klepto stacks, right? Because Ezreal's just fucking whacking them over and over again. And they know with Cannon Barrage that they are for sure stronger on top side if they have numbers. So might as well do it, right? Actually lose out, which is kind of surprising to me because I'm pretty sure they should be stronger in this case. No? Should they not be stronger? Kaisa has Q upgrade, right? I'm pretty sure it's Q evolve with a pickaxe. Well, I guess it depends on how much the tier is stacked. But she definitely has more damage than Ezreal. Ezreal gets CP just now. So Ezreal's actually able to join in this fight. Also, none of them want to deal with Mord. And Mord still has priority. When did Jarvan... They don't have full knowledge of Jarvan. I mean, he could approach top still. I don't think he can die to Mord. I don't think Mord can actually stay on top of him, especially if he has Ward Hop. I also don't think they thought that Yang X would just walk into the pit and just contest Lee. I don't think they expected that at all. Yeah, no way. And now they want to reapproach the Herald after he gets pushed out thanks to Mord. And Faker's smart enough to realize that this positioning is really fucking awkward for them. So he tries to get them out. Ming is too late to snap onto them. And Khan just gets fucking insta-deleted. Yeah. They just go straight on the Khan and they just engage quickly. And cut them off. I think what this comes down to is I would say Blade focuses on securing bot river vision, preventing Karsa movement in this area to relieve some pressure on bot. Plus, not really relieve pressure on bot. Plus enable Faker to play forward. Freeze up Faker plus for reset. Actually, does he reset? No. So it's not even used to free up Faker. But relief pressure allows Teddy to take a base. Like the Herald play at 11:10 is rush, didn't wait for Duo to fully come in, and Lang, I don't know how to say it still. I'm just gonna call him Mord. Mord allows and Mord ends up pushing Blade off. SKT now have issues approaching Herald with Karsa and Ming able to pinch. SKT lose one and lose Herald. Yeah, I think it was just rushed. I think it was just too rushed. Oh shit, they did get Herald. Oh shit, never mind. Let's say fail to capture Herald. That makes more sense. And he instantly ints. Okay. I mean, you know they're all topside, dude. Oh my god. You know they're all topside and he just runs in and kills himself. That's fucking Uzi. Mountain Dragon's available. Mord can move to get Scuttle Crab. Faker gets attacked in mid. Mord ends up TPing top to deny plates. RNG are successful in getting 2 dragons and Herald, and SKT have netted really nothing for the most part, and that's primarily off of lack of forced plays for the most part. I mean, what plays has Clid really made since the Kale play? None. He's pretty much controlled vision a bit on bot side, and that was it. What has Karsa done? Karsa gave a little pressure in bot, rotated towards top, counterplay mid, sneak first dragon, clear towards bot side to fight for vision, fail, responds to Herald, gets a nice counter engage, which kills Khan. His mid has basically done nothing for him for the most part. Like mid is just kind of like trying to scale. His dual lane has worked really well. Like he definitely should be happy with the fact that his dual lane is won out without really much help besides the initial like level 2 look. And his top lane has had priority for the most part, but that's mostly because of the matchup. But keep in mind, in an even game state, SKT are still fine, right? So it's not like this is like the end of the world type situation for them, right? Like you don't mind it that much. Now Kale has the side lane versus Ryze, which is advantageous towards SKT. There's nothing on top side to play for besides the tower. And growing Ryze, like again, like you don't really expect anything to happen to the Mord, so they're pretty much leaving GP on his own. And you know, before they would play more towards Khan's lane because it was a harder counter matchup, and this one it's more of a soft counter, just because he denies Mord from killing him, and then he just scales up and then he just goes and fights in for the team. So they try to contest in the river. And the pinch denies them. They don't want to risk getting pinched hard, so they back off. Kai'Sa's working on a Rage Blade, so there's kind of like delaying till she hits that item. Whereas Ryze is going a little bit of a different match. Holy shit, he's still going Roa. Wow. Huh. So he rushed AP to get more damage on the Xiaohu in lane, and he still wants additional scaling plus HP to try to survive a bit better. Plus the fact that Catalyst's passive is really good for mana spammers like Cassiopeia and Ryze. So sure, they go this route. Whatever, that's fine. Whatever. He's going additional scaling. So if he's going this route, then SKT really are gonna like slow down the game pacing and try to let Ryze grow. And it'd be better to focus on the Ryze lane anyways compared to the GP, so they can kind of help deny Kale levels in XP, so she doesn't accelerate to her level 16. Dragon's up in a minute. It's Infernal. GP is starting to get pushed consistently because his barrel C is on a. He gets his barrels back quicker, and because he does more damage, he's able to actually kill the. I can't remember if he can actually kill the back line at this point in one shot with the barrel and parlay, but I think he can. So Faker almost gets caught. They call it off, and one of the downsides of Jarvan here is the fact that his ulti doesn't cancel Ryze. He has to hit his EQ to even have a chance of stopping Ryze. So in terms of preventing Faker from split pushing successfully, there's actually not many good options. Like, it's basically Mordekaiser. And if you have Mordekaiser face Ryze, most likely Ryze is just going to fucking destroy him because Ryze can just sit in front of him and fight him. Unlike the GP. So right now, SKT lost a lot of their vision. They reapproached from mid with Faker movement, and Faker gives up some CS to get this vision. RNG quickly just erases all of it again, and now Infernal Dragon's up with no vision. They quickly burn burns Khan's flash because he TP's in from behind. And they realize it too. Like, they realize they're like, okay, go on TP, Doesn't get it. And then SKT realize that these guys are all split a bit. So look at Uzi. Uzi's caught in the corner, and he can't get out. Xiaohu approaches Faker, and what happens? He gets lit. He gets instantly lit. And now we have where the fuck is he? Oh, Teddy. I'm looking at Teddy. Teddy goes right in the back and finishes him off. Then Teddy flashes out, pulls Carson with him, kicks Ming out. So now Teddy's completely safe. Teddy doesn't die. They killed Jarvan after he finally gets out of this. Galio's really low. Free kill on Galio. And they get Infernal. So, if we're looking at mid game, it's like Clid, SKT, focus on bot river vision, and vision for Faker as a whole, letting Khan's lane remain in solitude. Oh my god. Dude, we might. There we go. Well, I always add so many extra letters for some odd reason. Remain in solitude. This helps put pressure on Xiaohu's Kale and sets the building blocks for the eventual Infernal Dragon. RNG fight hard for vision and makes it difficult for SKT to actually have positioning on next dragon. RNG committing hard to Khan's TP and then trying to stop SKT from entering from bot enter brush ends up being their downfall. SKT's comp wants to fight in the open, right? I think so. Or sorry, SKT's comp wants to fight either by following the enemy into GP cannon barrage or being scattered to limit RNG's AoE. Xiaohu gets lit by Faker, which then leads towards Teddy going in to baits RNG to chase him, which then leads towards big cleanup for SKT. I mean, so in the end, this is like it's really hard to do it. And Khan's mistake ends up being like a reward, right? Like they get rewarded for Khan's mistake, which is great. There's not much going on in this game though. Compared to the series, there's way less going on in this game. I'm kind of surprised, especially because SKT are perfectly happy with the scaling options they have to RNG scaling options. Like while Kale is problematic, she doesn't have the same scaling as a Seraph's Archangels. She doesn't have the same as a Muramana. Ezreal does, right? So Ezreal and Kaisa, you know, it looks similar. Only eventually that Teddy will outperform. Just because Kaisa has far more burst damage than a fucking Ezreal. Has far more burst damage than almost any other pick as an AD carry. If you build it the right way. And then Rise, of course, tons of damage. And then GP going crit build, AO, once again, a shit ton of damage. So they can't deal with that. Especially when you're playing Galio, who's not a pseudo tank like Leona. He's not. Like he's like Nautilus. You know, you proc your Aftershock, you're tanky for a brief amount of time, and then you're squishy as fuck. Jarvan, tank, technically more useful than Lee Sin, but you have 3 melees you have to go in, and Lee Sin just wants to kick one of them away anyways. And Leo has a fucking solar flare that can hit a backline to set up Kaisa. So it's doesn't look too good for RNG. Whew. course, when I say that, you know, that shit happens, right? So RNG, you know, they get Baron Vision. They've had control of mid the entire game since Ezreal's gone mid, and they're just basically moving Jarvan with Ezreal, Galio, and they're sacking some of Kale's farm to rotate mid as well to enhance their ability to control Baron Vision. And Khan and Clid just don't respect it, right? Like they're what's the point of walking in here? There is none. Like you saw them just show up, and they're strong as fucking dude. They're Ezreal. He's there. Don't walk in. If the Ezreal's right there, don't walk in. Effort kills himself as well. So 2 free kills are given over to RNG, which is like a fucking nightmare, right? And you know, RNG successfully gets the Baron, and now this all comes from like SKT have no control of mid since Uzi has been placed mid. Don't do as good of a job controlling Vision in their jungle, and have greedy pathing, knowing RNG is near them, leading towards unnecessary deaths plus RNG Baron. So like, it's just not respecting what RNG is doing, right? It's just not respecting what RNG is doing, and their early game was very, very tame. They weren't able to collect any like actual real small advantages besides from mid lane. No, it's not legal, Ashley. So the first thing SKT does is push out the side waves to deny these kinds of options for RNG. Faker keeps pushing top, which means this is also mostly because they see Mord still pushing bot, right? So they know that it's a 4v4 mid, and they have GP lined up in this situation, so he can actually land barrels. What's interesting to me is these guys don't have flashes, and RNG's too scared to dive, and I think that's really weird, because all RNG has to do in this situation is you just kill out like Ezreal, like just throw it on Ezreal, and Ezreal just leaps in, and Ezreal just does whatever damage he can. He has flash too, and more TPs with towered aggro on a minion, and you would get mid in him. I think SKT are. I don't think they realize how bad of a situation this can be for them. Khan has no flash here, right? What is stopping? Where the fuck is he? What is stopping Karsa from just EQR on the GP with Ezreal on there? This is going nothing. Like you could still do it on this wave if you want to, even with GP ult on. Well, no, I don't. I'm not gonna buy it. So they end up giving a kill over, and like basically this just comes down to like SKT Baron defense. It's Faker keeps pushing top while seeing Mord pushing out bot. Assume GP barrels is enough to defend mid tower 4v4, but SKT don't realize RNG are capable just diving with Kale ult on. RNG don't realize it as well. So it's like they should be punished, but at the same time, if RNG's not gonna commit to it, you just have to defend it, right? Like you don't just like if you know you can die in the dive, you first have to test to see are they actually gonna look for it a little bit. And RNG don't. So once you realize that they're not gonna do it, take more. Like just play like normal. No, I'm not gonna do it. Actually, it's not worth it. I'm fine with what I have. Cannon Barrage is not up. 40% CDR GP, who can farm like crazy now. Like he can get a ton of gold from parlay and constant barrel stacks. Now he's gonna start accelerating towards his next item, and Faker's already opting to go into not decap. He actually wants more burst in initial fights and some more movement speed. That's interesting. So he's taking a quicker spike, which I mean it's okay, right? Like it's not like it's really that detrimental to Rise scaling. I guess he feels like he needs to like stall out a little bit harder at this point. With RNG getting the first Baron and having being able to take down some of the towers. I want to go back to here. So SKT tries to play on him. It fails because he has Mordalt, and then he can Mordalt whoever isn't GP. And they end up burning Kale Flash. None of their flashes, so it was actually successful. Huh. And that was like one of the first like actual plays SKT has made that hasn't been reactive. So SKT doesn't want to give up Baron control because it's actually the first time they've had Baron control, and it comes off of their play on bot because it forces they basically get to base first, right? Because they're by their tower, right? They're by their base, unlike them, so they want to back off further, so it takes them more time. So SKT, and they also get access to this wave, so they're gonna push out the top wave. This fat top wave is gonna get pushed out. They're gonna be able to push out mid. He's gonna push out bot, and they're all gonna be able to group near Baron for that opportunity. Except for GP, right? Like GP technically could group if he wants to after he pushes this out, or he can sit and try to control Mord. Oh, he does TP. Okay. So he does TP. All right. So he TPs. Now it's up to them to bait more TP into them. And again, this is like the first time they really had control of Baron over RNG for the first time in the game. Baron comes up in 20 seconds. They definitely have the capabilities to burn Baron with Rise, Kaisa, and GP, especially this late. Okay, so now Ezreal's here, and Ezreal's starting to poke them down. So they have to really make a decision on either praying RNG engages, and they pull hard into a choke, and they use GP's barrels and cannon barrage to really and like flux spreads by Rise to really play a big part in them winning the fight, or they kind of just get pushed off naturally by Uzi. In no way should they be winning that. In no way should RNG be giving them this ever. Like, RNG successfully got control of mid. SKT are shying away from doing Baron. So you take mid control. Now you're gonna, like, there's no, like, why the fuck is Galio doing this? Why the fuck is Galio? Like, they all have flash, but Leona. Please, for the love of God, Galio, don't be the one who's trying. Remember when I said Galio's paper, like Nautilus? Especially if you don't have Aftershock on. He doesn't have Aftershock on. So he's fucking up really hard. The only nice thing is that it kind of baits SKT to have two members sitting on the left now. And RNG realizes that, and so he initiates right away, right? And it looks good. It does look pretty good. They get Kale. They get Leona, who does not have flash. Okay, great. So now, like, you're good. That's it. You're good. Now all you do is you play for Hex Flash Galio into into stopping Lee Sin, which they did. That's what they did in the first Baron. The first Baron, they Hex Flash and they took care of Lee Sin steal. They don't do that. Galio does the same stupid shit again, where he tries to engage, which he quite clearly can't. Okay, first off, he's holding this just because of Lee, right? Like, but you don't have to hold it. Like, you just have to use it for a very quick second, to stall out Lee. So that was a huge waste. That was a waste of a cooldown. And because these two approach like this, like, you know, he's feeling confident. The GP ult finally comes down. And now they're kind of stuck. These two are stuck. Lee Sin goes in. He quickly, he ward hops out, right? Oh, he flashes out. Okay, so he doesn't even ward hop out. He flashes out. And it baits Ming. So it baits Ming. It baits the Kayle ult. And now suddenly the fight's completely turned. And now SKT are like, oh shit, looks like we can do Baron. Because Faker lived, right? Like, Faker escaped with like 1 HP. So now the whole game turns around, because Mountain Dragon's irrelevant, right? Mountain Dragon's irrelevant. With how much damage SKT does anyways, they don't really care. and Elder Drake is an objective for SKT. Like, they'll be stronger for Elder Drake by the time it spawns. Alright, so now Faker's going into decap. I don't think that's fucking right, by the way. I understand the scaling he wants to increase with, but I think decap is kind of it's gonna take a lot longer. I almost prefer he just went Zonia's in a lot of ways, especially with how much engage they have. Without flash, it would make more logical sense, or at least get a stopwatch, unless he already used his, which I don't think he did. And GP's working on Infinity Edge, which is a big item. Kaisa has 4 items, Ezreal has 4 items, which is, you know, it's expected. Ezreal's been like the main carry. Kale's been bleeding side farm the entire game to rotate mid and help assist control of Baron. So Baron vision. So that's why that's a pretty big deal for RNG losing Baron too. Like, RNG's been spending Kale's time to see, like, to farm out, to give them a better chance at getting Baron with Uzi. So let's see how SKT uses the Baron. So they grouped 4 mid. They had Faker push out top, group 3 mid, 1 bot. Faker rotates into mid. They push mid. They test its weakness, or they test for weakness. It seems like it's gonna be a little difficult for them, even though they could wait 1 more wave and they would get it with the cannon. But they don't want to, I guess, invite the chance for an engage and then they use Realm Warp to quickly rotate towards bot to clear out the tier 2, which then leads them, and then, they place Vision along the way. And then Faker TPs to go back mid. That's fucking weird. So the reason why the only reason I can think of why they did it this way was it's like yanking your chain, right? Yanking someone's chain, and you see it all the time in like control based games, like control points for shooters, and you'll see like teammates hovering around one point. Okay, we got this point. Oh, let's go to the next point. Okay, let's go to the next point. And no one defends. No one just sits and defends, right? Everyone wants to always keep attacking. Well, in this case, RNG, they're supposed to defend with what they have, and SKT rotates fully down into top tier 2 or bot tier 2 with the Realm Warp. They take that pulls RNG's members down, and then that exposes their mid tier 1, which then SKT takes next, and RNG then have to fully rotate everyone towards the bot tier 2. But even in this case, it's like it's not as bad as like a shooter objective, because most likely you're gonna lose the mid tier 1 anyways. Like, it was hanging by like a slither, and it was just gonna blow. It was just gonna get like knocked down eventually. So this was a fantastic catch by RNG, by the way. Like, he sneaks through. They have a ward that spots Khan, and there's no way for Khan to know this. The only thing that sucks is that there's no objective to take. So there's no objective to take, but Khan did use his flash, and that's why he buys stopwatch in response. Now Faker has decap. He's fucking huge, right? Like, this dude's gonna fuck. Khan 2 crit items. Like, he's strong, but he's not as ridiculously set as Faker. And then we see Teddy invests in a stopwatch as well. And unlike RNG, SKT have a lot of pinks. Like, they have 4 pinks 33 minutes into the game. Now, it makes sense that Leo would have it, and it kind of makes sense that Leo has it. But GP and Rise are sitting on pinks. Yeah, dude. You know that they want to be able to have fucking full control of the next dragon, the next baron, whatever they want to grab. Okay, so these teams are fighting for Cloud Drake. Cloud Drake is irrelevant for RNG. Completely irrelevant for RNG. This Drake does not mean anything to them, because they already have 2 Cloud Drakes, they already have 2 mountains, and they don't want to spawn the next dragon to create Elder Dragon. They don't want to do that. So, what should they do? Kale should push out top. Ward will deal with bot. You control mid with Ezreal. You let SKT take the free dragon because you do not give 2 shits about it. I assume it's a Cloud Drake, right? It is. Yes, it must. Yeah, it's a Cloud Drake. So they're fighting over nothing. And what's best about this situation is RNG commit to it. RNG still commits to it. Ward isn't there. Ward has to TP in. Rise can Realm Warp in very easily. So effort's caught. Great. Look at what fucking Uzi does. Watch Uzi. Here's Uzi. Okay, here's Uzi. He ease in to finish off effort in the GP ult, and Clid instantly responds to it. Now, you gotta give you gotta give respect. Uzi instantly, cleanses flashes, but he gets the Kale ult on him. And now Uzi feels like he has to play forward, but guess what? No Kale ult. Here comes Teddy. And Teddy fucking cleans him. Well, almost cleans him. Until he gets Mort ultied. And Mord can't do anything against Kai'Sit, by the way. And that's the game. That's literally how the game ends. Because they committed for a fucking dragon like that. So, from this standpoint, SKT attempt one actual play on bot tier 2 on their bot tier 2 with Realm Warp, which catches RNG off guard, gets Xiaohu's flash while they burn nothing. I'm pretty sure. I think it was Xiaohu's flash. I can't remember exactly. Let's see, SKT managed to get Baron Vision for the first time. Baron Vision for the first time thanks to this play, but they don't have the best comp to engage, nor turn, so they end up getting pushed off Baron by RNG. Also kind of split themselves up by accident, only for RNG to mess up by extending too far, leading towards SKT Baron. You know, we go over SKT's Baron. It's like SKT Baron power play. It's like kind of sloppy. Like top into mid, into bot, into mid. Nets 2 towers overall. Doesn't gain much, but it does delay the game to further point to scale them. And then when we extend this, and it basically goes down to this Cloud Drake, and it's like SKT have control of Cloud Drake. RNG randomly engage hard on it, versus either taking free top push while waiting on Baron, or just not having Uzi int himself in the engage. I mean, like, in the end, effort was caught out in this play. Cost SKT. And we look at general gameplay, it's like efforts had a lot of issues finding engages and making plays for SKT overall. Without Clid being strong and able to move with him, he seemed weaker. SKT having a slower early game where they couldn't have mid priority in have mid priority going into mid game, slowed down their ability to control sections of the map, plus didn't have a side laner besides Rise to gain more control. Actually, didn't have side laner in bot lane to have that free movement to force 4v5s. RNG always rotated Kale into mid early, so it was always either 5v5 or 4v5 for SKT, which doesn't make them want to fight. SKT are spun into basically, it's like basically like spun into just scaling out with side waves until they feel strong enough that their damage will easily overpower RNG's more cohesive composition. Good shit.